I'm just as excited as you are. Obviously, you wouldn't be here if you didn't love this already. You understand what makes Andor so special from watching it. Let's find out what was special about creating it. Let us bring out the writer, the executive producer, and creator, Tony Gilroy. Thank you, Tony. Right here. Besides welcoming all of you here, I want to thank all the corporate members who are joining us over the live stream right now. Hello to the live stream people. Tony, how are you doing?
It's been a good day.
Yes. Yeah, I hear you did Seth. I did Seth earlier today.
My first talk show, yeah.
Okay, goodbye. All right.
I just go where they ask me.
No, okay. We've known each other for a little bit. I heard you talking about this series in 2003 during the strike when you're like, I got nothing to do with this. I have to walk away. This has been a long journey for you, and I want to talk to you about it, but I really would rather have talked to Diego Luna about this, if you don't mind.
Everybody feels that way, but...
So why don't we try? Diego, are you here? Can you come down?
I'm here. Wasn't he great in this episode tonight? Wasn't he good?
My best episode, right?
Good to see you again. Good to see you.
Buenas noches.
Well, fellas, let's start with you. Let's start with you, Tony. You know, I have told you I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I'm a huge fan of your work. What was your involvement? Like, what was your relationship to Star Wars before you started working on this series? I suppose before you started working on Rogue One, I suppose.
In 1977, I went to the movie theater, whatever the theater is next to Mass General in Boston. It was an extremely hot day. I went with my roommate, whose front was a stereo salesman, and his girlfriend, who was an emergency room nurse. And we went to see, I remember it vividly, we went to see Star Wars. It was an event. And
what did you think when you walked out?
It was like going to see Apocalypse at the Ziegfeld or something, or Avatar. It wasn't like a movie. It was like some other thing. I was fascinated. It was amazing. Did I hang in? No, I didn't hang in the way you.
For all of
I
it,
didn't.
No.
I mean, I wear and watched and whatever, but it wasn't my thing. I didn't hang in.
Diego,
and then Rogue, I jumped back in.
Diego, what about you? What was your relationship with Star Wars growing up?
I did bought all the toys. I fell for it. Yeah, I was the youngest.
You fell for it. They gotcha.
They got me at 5 or 6 years old, and I had a Darth Vader like case of crayons.
Like the helmet case?
Yes,
he had crayons?
Oh, you had it too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I
waited like
cool.
3 or 4 months in Mexico to get it, because back then, like they wouldn't do merchandising unless you asked for it. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't know what you were gonna do. Like now they do. So back then I remember watching the films and then signing in the toy store. But I wanted to belong to my cousins' like universe and fantasy and games. I was the youngest in the family.
Is there presently a lunchbox in the shape of your head that someone can buy?
I'll get you one. Yeah.
Please. Well, I mean this, I don't mean this pejoratively, but when I watch Andor, I mean, I love the Star Wars universe. I saw Star Wars 3 weeks before it was released in theaters because my hometown was a test market, and I won tickets through a radio station. And so I couldn't explain to any of my friends how the whole world had changed after I saw it. Wow. And then 3 weeks later, everybody loved it, and I went, no, that's my band.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So I love Star Wars in all of its iterations, but one of the things when I watch this, and Evie, my wife and I were talking about this, is that in your writing here, Tony, it could easily not be a Star Wars story because so much of it is in the characters and in the suspense and in the spy story and in the attention of the characters. And I'm just curious, for you as you're writing it, how much of this balances I'm telling a Star Wars story and how much I'm telling a story of these specific characters?
I made it clear from the beginning. I mean, I have a little bit of a reputation, and so they came after me. Kathy knew me. I wasn't going to change my game. It wasn't like I was going to, particularly for a 5-year commitment. I might for a rewrite or something. I might hide, but I wasn't going to hide for 5 years who I was.
Hide your lamp under a bushel?
I mean, I've kind of laid down my thing, and
those are descriptions of yourself.
No, but
you're lacking certain adjectives.
Let's put it. I'm going to go right at it.
What kind of
when
reputation
they said they
did you
wanted
have,
to make
Tony?
this show, I said, okay. He goes in the first scene, he goes to a brothel, look for his sister, and then kills 2 cops who shake him down. Is that okay?
And they said, yeah, there it is.
Here we are.
Oh, that's good.
So, I mean, that's what I mean by my thing.
Okay. The season bridges the gap between Andor, season 1, and where we see Cassian begin his journey in Rogue One, to go see Tivik. And can you tell us a little bit about how you approached writing this season, knowing you had that specific intention? And did you have that destination when you started writing?
Dude, he kills the guy in the first scene, same shit.
Yeah.
I know. I was, let's put it this way. I did have a brief involvement with Rogue One in the summer before, in a different iteration when they were trying to save the movie, and that was very abbreviated. My father was dying, and I said, hey, I had it was a sort of stutter start. Quite a few months later, they came back with a movie, and the salient question is, are you happy with everybody dying? Yes, we want that. And that...
In Rogue One?
Yeah, and man, that's everything. You tell me you're going to do a movie where everybody dies at the end, that clarifies everything in the most basic way. The movie gets instantly pure. It's all about sacrifice and who's giving what to that. It's about as basic and elemental a story as you could ever possibly have. And their error maybe had been missing the clarity of that, how that clarifies your thought. And it was so simple to fix the movie in a way, which was just to make you care about these different people enough along the way so that when they died, you gave a shit. And so that's a long answer. But,
sure. Well,
and you know how you do that, right?
No, but
the guy killed someone, and he instantly,
and then you instantly care about him.
Oh, God. It's my thing. I'm going to do it all the time now.
Well,
bang.
Diego, and we watched Cassian Andor, starting with season 1 of Andor. If you're a fan and you've seen Rogue One, you know he's going to die. You know that the destination here is that this guy does not get out of here alive, and part of his reluctancy kind of feeds into the audience. I kind of hope you walk away from the rebellion because I know what your destination is, and I'm just curious, knowing that you've got this character that you're playing in the movie, and knowing that this second season is linking, coupling on a train directly into the beginning of that. Did that adjust the way you played? How did that affect how you played Cassian in season 2?
I mean, very much. I think first we wanted to start as far as possible, right? How far can we go from that man we meet in Rogue One? But then, every moment has a very special meaning, and it's interesting as a tool, that I know something the audience knows and the character doesn't, right?
Oh.
And it's interesting to play with that all the time, because every promise he makes, he might not deliver. You know what it means to say goodbye. You know what it means to say, I'll be back. We know. And sometimes I had to put my feelings aside, because the moments became fully charged, and they're not supposed to be, because this guy is just moving forward. It's solving everyday's life. It's not thinking so much ahead, right? But it's very interesting. It's like when you approach a historical event or a historical character in a movie, we all know what he's capable of, what he did, but we don't know how. What was he like? Who was around? Who's left behind? All of that matters here. So it's about all those layers, right?
Well, I mean, it's difficult. I want to ask you some questions about things that the audience doesn't know about. So I'm not going to do that because I've seen the last 2 episodes. I'm special.
You can go
And they're-
home right.
I'll give you this spoiler.
They're available now, right?
Are they available tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now.
This spoiler. They're very
In 20
good.
minutes. Okay, hurry up.
I promise you, they're
You
very,
are the
very
first
good.
people to see it. Yeah.
Exactly. Please don't leave here until this is over to go watch it. Let's talk about one of the little elephants in the room here. People are laying interpretations of this season on based upon modern political context. But you wrote this years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, the digestive process is long on this. So it was written a long time ago. It was meant to come out a year ago without the strikes. Yeah, the answer is yes. It's not written from the headlines, but
So people find, so there's an applicability, but what do you find about like this struggle against authoritarianism or rebellion that's happening in here? And as Mon Mothma talks about, you know, the death of truth being so dangerous, what's universal that's not of this time, but it speaks to something in the human experience that is not tied to this moment?
I think you can go back about 4,000 years and re-identify a whole bunch of different situations as fascism, and I think you can identify a whole bunch of different situations as rebellion and revolution. The technology obviously changes, and some of the methodology changes, but what's on the menu is essentially the same. And people who are oppressed and backed into a corner will only take so much until they go so far, and then something happens. And inevitably, the people who enable the fascism or the authoritarianism are the last people to get the joke that they're about to get fucked, and they're the last people, sort of like Wile E. Coyote standing over nothing. And you see that with Cyril and Dedra. You watch that all the way through the show, and that's one of the things that's so painful about this, is that the victims are on all sides of this. And authoritarianism and fascism just destroys everything that it has, except at finally the burning hot center, and finally that ends up immolating, doesn't it?
Yeah. The one that you said technology changes. I love the technology of this show, because it really couples with the technology of the first Star Wars, which is these are like Wang computers. These are like
really
compact
cool
computers.
yeah.
I love that the radio that he's destroying is like a crystal radio set that you could build from Radio Shack in 1977. It's all very cohesive. It all works within the world. But I love sort of like the analog nature of this digital world.
The set decoration and I remember on Rogue, because we sat in those tin cans. I don't want to get too specific, but in the tin cans, you know, in the spaceship with everybody packed in and the doors locked and closed, and you're crammed into a corner and you got a monitor and you're like sitting over here in the thing, and you have all these switches and dials and all this crap, and it's all smudged with like funk, like skin funk, you know, and like it's all grotty, and it like you click it and the light goes on. You're like, holy shit! It's all, man. They build this shit off the frame. They've been doing that since they started. They're so good at it. Yeah, it's such an aesthetic. It's really...
And everything look
works.
Anywhere. Like you can place the camera anywhere, and there's something interesting to see. You push a button and things happen, you know.
The design is extraordinary,
but
including the wardrobe design.
Yes,
well, that's a separate...
But there is a logic to everything, you know. It's not like just cool things that turn on and off. It's like things are supposed... There is a logic. You have to start in the right and to the left, and then there is a language, you know, you have to learn. You go to like piloting lessons, you know,
yes,
of a thing that never takes off, but
it barely takes off for Cassian, so that makes sense.
Well, the last shot I did was in a thing they call the gimbal, which is like it moves and it goes down, left, up, you know, you get hit, it shakes, but it never took off. But it's almost as if you were going through it, and the same thing happens with everything. Like the Michael Wilkinson, because we spoke about the set design of Luke Hall, but Michael Wilkinson is another fantastic. He's the costume designer. He's a wonderful designer, and he has an explanation for every piece, you know. And you sit down and you really discuss why and when am I wearing this? You know, am I putting it on or an off in the scene? You know, things have. He really love the challenge of showing you how things work in a world where there's no buttons, there is no zippers, there is no shoelaces, and things have to close, and we have to get to a solution where you can, put the coat on. And
I really wanted to see some of the designs that Varian Sky would have made. Fashion designer Varian Sky.
He could have like
the swatches.
Another
Exactly.
job.
I want to see the swatches. Did you have a
Amazing
favorite?
glasses, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did either of you have favorite props or set pieces from this season?
From this season, I didn't take anything. I took a musical instrument from the Ferrick's funeral.
I didn't ask you if you were a thief. I asked you if you had a favorite piece.
Okay. The prop, and this is one day I'm over there, because my trips to Pinewood were, few and far between. I had a very Kim Jong-un sort of approach to the show. and I go over, and Johnny and I, my brother there, Johnny and I, and Johnny's visiting the set, and I'm at my office, a very fancy office, and they come and go, oh my God, we have the Rido hijacking pump for Saw Gerrera available at the props department for you to come look at. And we hike up the hill in Pinewood, and we go there, and they do like 45 minutes of this. Like, when you see that episode, you see it do a bunch of shit, and it like does all this stuff, but like, it did like 20 other things.
Oh, like those click,
oh
click,
my
click,
God,
click,
and
click,
the
click,
guy's
click.
explaining it,
The
going like, oh my
variations.
God, we'd have to do a whole episode to just, and you're going like, we're never gonna get, but they are like, the inciting of mania is like really what my job was.
Wow.
I am like the igniter of mania, and like the more, right? I mean, the more people that I could make, I know you're obsessive, I know you want to do this, like, come with me and I promise you'll be okay. And I'll pay attention to you. That's the management strategy here. Mania.
Diego, do you have a favorite prop or a favorite set?
So many. I mean, obviously the blaster, and I was given the blaster.
Oh wow!
Did you take it home? The one?
Yes. It was a whole mess at the airport, but yes.
Yeah.
But the blaster. It's like they make it so easy for us. It's just like we're so spoiled, The blaster, if you push the button, it makes a noise, it kicks, then it recharges and it turns, and there's a little light that lets you know when it's recharged. It's beautiful. Like so many times you're looking at that thing like going, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm actually
That's
doing
better than
this.
the Darth Vader lunchbox.
No. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to say that in this show it was the sets. It was more than one proper. Like you remember in what's called Niamos, right? The motel. That room. Like the logic of that room around the bed, the bathroom, the shower.
The two doors.
Oh my God! It was it was like a crazy place. Like I can imagine like Luke Holt sitting down for hours, going through every experience he
Is
has
this the
had
safe
in a
house
hotel.
or the hotel
No.
in Gorman?
It's the motel in Niamos where he goes with Wendy.
In the first season.
Oh,
He's
first
partying
season.
with Wendy before he gets
I
busted.
didn't want to talk about Windy, but
Wendy with an I.
Yes.
yeah, but I was
And then,
just
oh,
like,
above
it's
it.
like there's so not jokes. There's like anecdotes there from Tony or Luke Holt that you can tell like, oh my God, this comes from a real story, and it's full of that. Like the every set you arrive to, you get to see very little of them. We see the whole thing. It's incredible.
I like the little when we sort of bungee into some part of this universe or the story, and then you're out and you never see them again. Like the partisans on the Jungle Planet. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. Who are having factions between them, and they end up killing each other. And you're not giving us any time to catch up with what you're telling us. You just expect us to pay attention. I respect that because you're respecting our intelligence and our ability to pay attention. But is this the second episode of the season where you've stolen
Yeah, we
you're
have one of the
on-
Maya Pei here tonight, but
Maya Pei?
the Maya Pei Brigade.
The Maya Pei.
Yeah, the Maya
You
Pei
took-
Brigade.
You very quickly understood what was going on, but there's no exposition. Nobody was telling us what was going on.
I'm making a big trade with the audience. I'm saying I'm willing to sacrifice media literacy. You cannot watch your phone and watch the show simultaneously. I'm dead. No, but, well, we all do it. We all do it. But the trade-off is you can't do that, and I sacrifice what I sacrifice for that. And my hope is that the payoff is that you could watch this in 15 years and there's still something else to get out of it you didn't see the 20th time you saw it or something. You know, it's timeless. So that's the trade-off. And we're really going for that. And it's a grammar and it's a narrative syntax or whatever it is. But once you commit to it, you gotta go for it. And that's what we're going for. Yeah.
Same thing happens when you're reading the scripts, you know? You have to go back and go like, wait a second, and the answer is there, you know? Every answer is there in a line, in a gesture, in a description of a place or a moment. I like telling the story of how these lines, once you see the whole episode, suddenly tell you what happened on a year. You know, the Cassian gets out of that situation and wants to call home, and you realize home is Bix. You know, and that tells you what happened over that year. You know, suddenly they made a home. They are home to each other. It says everything. Next time you see them, they're already like a year couple. You know,
your character in the first season starts off looking for a sister. You know, as you said earlier, you were talking about looking for a sister in the brothel. That person without a family looking for his family at the top of the show. How is that idea sustained for you as an actor into the second season?
I mean. And you are 20 minutes away from seeing that. But this is the family. That's family. You know. I remember what Tony said to me about the relation with Bix in the first season. It's like this is everything for him. You know, is the first kiss, is the first friend, is the first ally, is the first person that was there when he did something wrong and didn't know what to do. It's like that's family. This is the family he decides to fight for. You know, all of these people, those who are there and those who are not anymore. Marva, Brasso, you know, all of them. That's the fuel. That's what keeps him going. We just saw, and we were. I mean, this is fresh, but we just saw this episode, right? I mean, and Luthen does kind of like that same thing to him in season 1, right? Mm-hmm. He's not that young, but he's the same. Like, he belongs to that family.
Yeah.
Right?
I started... I'm drifting into the next episode, and I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
So, which is heartbreaking and beautiful. Okay, I want to talk about the writing process for a second, if you don't mind. Robert Bolt, in the introduction to A Man for All Seasons, talks about writing for him, writing a play. And he says that writing a play is more dream than scheme, for him at least. More dream than scheme, but it's a dream that might take him a year and he's responsible for it at the end. So I'm curious are you making discoveries about where the story is going as you write it, or do you lay out a plan for where you want it to go before you start writing?
All of that. I mean,
So you have an outline.
No, I think the easiest way to understand it is if you had a camera and you swap lenses. You know, you have your SLR, you have a wide angle, and I'm popping different lenses in at different times. I don't like to work from an agenda. I don't like to work from I didn't write Michael Clayton because it was, I want to do a movie about corporate malfeasance in chemical companies. It wasn't like that. It's like, there's a fixer in a law firm, and that would be interesting. And it blows out. I trust myself that if I'm writing well and being true, that all the molecular Petri dish experiments I make along the way, and I'll find a navigational scene. I go, oh my God, what a cool idea for a scene. And I'll write that scene. And where am I going to put that? And this. And I'll make a big mess. But I'm hoping that as I start to put it together, that it means something else. And every now and then you pop out and go, well, maybe this is pulling together into something. But I have to trust that the river's gonna pull me to something important by doing small, as opposed to thinking, oh, I'm gonna do something really big and trying to get the small stuff to work.
How much do you overwrite and peel
huge.
back?
Oh my God.
What's your ratio?
8-1.
Wow. So how long did it take you to write this season?
Dude, I never stopped writing for 6 years. I've been writing for 5.5 years. No, every single day I wrote for, literally, man, these people know. I wrote every single day.
Hold on, I'm gonna fact check. Is this true?
Yeah, every single, and we have, and look, and I don't want to minimize what my brother Dan or Bo Willimon or Tom Bissell or Stephen Schiff contributed to the show. It's a marathon relay, but the writing almost begins with Luke Hull, and then it goes through them, and it never, ever, ever stops. It's literally like being on a dairy farm. So it's every day you can't get sick, you can't roll, everything it has to.
Someone's got to milk the script.
They got to milk them twice a day. So yeah, 8-1 and on and on and on.
I just want you to be in every interview we do from now on.
No, man, oh my God. It's late. We've had a couple drinks now, so
the side
we've been doing this all day.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
Okay, are there any scenes that you wrote that didn't make it in? You're like, oh, that was a killer to have to remove.
No, because you end up with what's right.
But there are like lines here and there that fit that moment.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I wouldn't force a line into anything anymore. I'm too old and smart for that. But
no, I'm not going to say. I'm not accusing you of like.
No, I'm trying to think. No. But
that moment.
But I don't. You know what? What you sacrifice as you get older is you lose energy, and this is an energy show. So there's no chance to make a mistake. So you have to be like a sniper. So nothing that's a blemish can last for more than a moment. You have to kill anything that's not working right away, and you can't delude yourself ever. And you just have to be sniping all the way on what's right.
You sound like Luthen.
I am Luthen. No, I realized this about a week ago.
You are Luthen?
No, and you know what? It took 5 years of the show. I am Luthen. Zana Wallenberg is Clea, and the two of us have been in the frickin' workshop, building this stupid shit for, seriously. And I've been degrading over time.
Well, I have my own favorite moments.
My 10 is, oh my God.
Yeah.
And,
I have my own favorite moments and favorite designs and wardrobe. Like Mon Mothma's outfits are just unbelievable. One hit after another. The Met Gala can kiss her ass. She looks fantastic.
Definitely.
For everyone.
Can
they
learn
should do a
lot from her.
Chandrillan.
Yeah. They can learn a lot from her because also they look so simple.
Yes.
You know, they look like they're so meant to be on her body. It's just perfect.
But there's also some formal vocabulary to what everyone's wearing on that planet.
Yes, to every planet. That's what is insane of the work of Michael Wilkinson in this second season. It's if we did a year, the amount of planets you see in this season, the amount of different cultures, events, layers of society is crazy. Can I say one thing about what you were talking before? Yeah. No, I think the best way to say, because I really like that idea of making a mess and then cleaning it up as his process.
Yes.
And one thing you should all know is that once it got written, once it got shot, all of it is there. No? You didn't get it doesn't go many shows and films you go edit, and when you edit you rewrite the whole thing. You know, this is not the case. When it gets to the page, it has been back and forth so much, and everyone also gets a moment to contribute before it gets to the page we get on set, you know, the one we go out there to execute. And that is very that's why takes 2.5 years to do this show because we don't get there till we are ready. And today, so many times, you know, once you're there, you're not ready. You know, it happens a lot. And you start improvising and doing version A, B, C, D. Here, all of that happens before, you know.
I also have my favorite lines from the show, and I'll save that. But I'm just curious, do you have favorite lines from the show that this man or your brother or Bo wrote?
I mean, we were in an interview, and I just went through the Mon Mothma speech. The whole speech, come on. And the speech, I mean, the first season, Luthen, oh my God.
About what he sacrificed? That sacrifice speech?
Come on. And like, what else is, I was about to ruin something. Yes, I was about to ruin something. But in 20 minutes, well, in 2.5 hours, you'll know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Some things like, it's just delicious to say, even for I'm not an English speaker, you know, it's not my first language. I have to go through a whole process to learn these lines, a very long process. But once you learn them, they come out so beautifully.
Well, English not your first language. As a little boy in Mexico, you have the Darth Vader helmet that takes you, how long did you say? Like 6 weeks?
Darth Vader. No, we call it Darth Vader. We call it Arturito.
What? I heard about Arturito.
Arturito,
yes. Little Arthur, yeah.
Citripio.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But now, so now you're part of a contingent of Latino actors and actresses in Star Wars. Adriana Arjona, am I saying that correctly?
Uh-huh.
And Oscar Isaac, Ben Bratt,
really,
Jimmy Smith.
You didn't say it
What?
correctly.
I did not?
I just wanted to answer the question.
I said it wrong?
Completely wrong.
Arjona.
Arjona, sí.
Arjona.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Adria Arjona.
Arjona.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, Ben Bratt, Jimmy Smits, Michelle Rodriguez. How does it feel to like be the little boy who you couldn't even get the toys there, and now you're part of sort of cementing this your culture's addition to this particular canon?
It feels great because I got to be part of Rogue One and this show. It feels great because this show represents me as audience. I will watch this show definitely. You know, I think it was needed. Also, I think it's interesting, as you said before, to challenge audiences, to talk about like complex characters, to bring contrast to characters, and these characters are all full of contrast. So I'm really proud to be part of this. Is it not in general of these, because you tell small stories and then they can become big, you know. But when we were working here, even though we had all the toys in the planet that you can imagine, we were telling a small story, each of us. I was telling the small story of Cassian and the relations he has, and every actor was just working like that. You don't go to set going like, okay, I'm gonna do Star Wars. You go, I'm gonna do the best to tell the story of this man. And I'm proud I got the opportunity to do it, you know, very much. But because it connected me to this crew, to these people, to this fabulous man, writer, and leader, to everyone involved, you know. It's, right now I can say it's about this that we made, you know.
Tony, you being Luthen reminds me of my favorite line. It's not necessarily the best line, but it's the one that leapt out to me, and I went, oh, I wonder if Tony himself wrote that line, because I didn't look to see who wrote it at the end of the episode, whether it was you or brother or Bo or whoever. It was when Luthen is talking to Mon Mothma about clearly going to kill her friend who is threatening her with knowledge of the action of the rebellion, and she goes, I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about, or some line like that, and he goes, how nice for you. And I went, oh shit, that is like Michael Clayton. That is
out here on 6th Avenue. That's Tilda and Robert Prescott, you know.
Yes.
That's the scene where, you know, no, it's a comp to that scene
Yeah.
where he's saying, are you saying yes? And she's saying, well, what do you mean by yes? And
Yes.
yeah, no, it's a comp to that scene for
Yeah.
sure.
Did you write that line?
Yeah, it's in. Yeah. I
Got
didn't
it.
get credit for that one. No, I ripped myself off there. Yeah.
One character from the first season that I was hoping we'd find out a little bit more about is Andy Serkis as Kino Loy in the prison. Any theories for you two? Whatever happened to him? Did he ever get out
I
of
have
that
a
prison?
Narkina 5 swim team T-shirt that I wear. I'm so happy I made you laugh. There you go.
Made me laugh a lot. Okay.
Okay, that's my answer.
Okay.
It's like I don't want to break anybody's heart. The sister's not coming back. I mean, and like Andy, the big pressure. Andy, should he come back? It gets. What's the line what's the limit where you get cheesy and you get with Andy where you're getting manipulative with the audience, and how are you ever going to improve on his last moment?
Yes.
If you can't better deal that moment, then get out of the way. And like the sister, it's like, as you said before, like the sister is so much more valuable as an absence in his life than she could ever be as a character.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's going to go back and save everybody all the time is much more important to me than finding his sister working at, McDonald's and Diamos.
She's there in the loss of her.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Anna
where,
and
that's
Vanya,
where,
like
and how many
she's an
people in
important
this,
character.
everybody in this room has unresolved, it just is.
Not me,
So
I'm perfectly
yeah,
happy.
I know.
And that's why I went into
know.
comedy, because I'm so happy, Tony.
I know. Oh my God. I know. I stand corrected.
But that's one of the things that is different, right? I mean, Rogue One, that's the ending. Like people are, when they're gone, you know? And you can probably go back and tell the backstory, but that's it. Like there's a beginning and an end here. And Rogue One had a beginning and an end, and our show has a beginning and an end. And I think that makes it very special, that
I agree. I also love that you kill off people. And so that makes almost every action has, we know that Cassian's not going to die before the end of the series. That's the only thing that I know. He's not going to die before the end of the series.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, because Mon Mothma comes back, but is that it gives stakes to all the actions. Is that anything could happen at any moment. And I just love how often Cassian makes a decision, and we see this decision the second he makes it, and he kills somebody. Like, what, do you not like that?
We just said I did it twice. And he does it with Eben. He does it with
But it's not
Skeen
just in the first episode.
No.
Yeah. But let's not ruin
No.
the next 2 hours for these people.
You just ruined it. I said
you were
nothing.
close.
I said
You're
nothing.
close.
I said nothing about the next 2 episodes.
You're a story
You're the two
terrorist.
numbnuts who just gave it away. Cassian strangles Darth Vader.
Thank you.
And steals his crayons.
Okay, one thing that viewers can take away from this season is the message of hope. Rebellions are built on hope from Rogue One, and is that happening in this one yet? Yeah, because that's at the hotel. That's at the hotel. I'm just making sure I don't want to give anything away.
No, man, my son is here, and like this comes from my office is downstairs in our house, and Sam comes and picks up his mail regularly and wafts through the house, and like he has this terrible game he plays where it's called Stress Test, and he'll come in, and my computer's there. And he'll look at whatever dialogue is on the screen, and he will read it as badly as could possibly be read. To stress test it.
Like, can this dialogue survive bad
The
reading?
worst version ever, the stress test. And he comes in one day after they went to see Rogue. I didn't want to go see it. It was on IMAX.
Oh, no.
And he's like, so, dude, what are you going to do with, rebellions are built on hope? And I'm like, well... that's from Cassian to her. He goes, well, where did he get it? I go, what? I go, isn't that a thing? And like, he goes, no. And I'm like, ding, 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 go. I I go back, and I was probably somewhere around Gorman at that point, and like, that was our lucky winner. But a really groovy place to put it, I thought. I love that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
He's a great moment, especially when he goes like, you'll have to go to your room. You have to carry your own bag this time. That revelation that
Plus, he
knows.
also, before he throws the suicide bomb, he has the tourists like clear out of the way. He's like, you might want to move back away from the window.
Well, it's a nice hotel, Tony. You don't want to kill the clientele.
Move away. And then,
I mean, I love that. Those are all French actors, I assume. The gore.
Yeah.
I love that it's all French actors with the French accent speaking a created language. That's a wonderful touch. That's a wonderful touch. Because of course anything they say sounds like French, but it's not French. Why?
Why?
All the rest of my questions are just why,
I can explain it
how,
very
when,
clearly and
what?
quickly. We wanted to take down Gorman. Luke and I built the whole Gorman society and the city and said, oh, it's somewhere between Milan and Mecca. And we built the whole economy and the spiders and all that shit. And then it's like, okay, I want to do the Wannsee conference in the first episode, you know, where I want to do a comp for when the Nazis got together and over a power lunch and had trout and decided to kill 6 million people and kept notes, as they do. And that's a real thing. And I thought, oh, that's a really good thing to put in the beginning. I'll get Ben Mendelsohn in there, and we'll talk about taking down Gorman. And the way to take down Gorman, we haven't used this tool before. We're going to use propaganda this time. And what's one of the things we'll use about the Gorman against them? They're very insular. They trade with everybody. They have buyers from everywhere. They don't intermarry. They're really into themselves, and they really keep to themselves. Well, let's use that as a weapon against them. And that provoked a really interesting series of conversations, because there's diversity casting, there's natural casting, there's whatever you want to do. And all of a sudden we're having a conversation. And I finally came up with one line that said, idealized casting does not help me tell the story of oppression in this case. And it was much better to have a unified population to tell the story of how they were going to get screwed. And we had watched The French Village, my wife and I, the 7 seasons of this amazing television show. If you haven't seen it, it's really cool. And I was like, they should be really different. And what we run into in the UK all the time is we don't care. He doesn't care. I don't care. But there's Welsh accents and Scots accents and Manchester accents and everybody, all these different things. And it matters to the Brits and the Scots and the Irish tremendously. It doesn't matter to us at all. I mean, we're not. And so the idea that we were going to inhabit Gorman with a whole variety of other people seemed tricky. And I said, what do we get all French people? And what if we get Terry Goddard and Richard Samuel from French Village? And they're not expensive, and we can get other French actors we can abuse. And move them to Windsor and have them all live there and learn this language.
They can take a train and get to work.
Yeah, no.
Sure.
No, but
that's exactly what he wanted to say.
Yes.
No, but that's how it happened.
The Eurostar, right?
And they're wonderful and incredible. And then we had a language, and it's like, we need a language that's gore, but it has to come out of the French mouth in a certain way. So there was versions of it that were very Yiddish and Hungarian and Finnish, and finally it landed in this place, and that's how we ended up there.
Who made the language?
Marina Tyndall, who was his dialogue coach on season 1. She was a linguist and whatever.
And the second was like, okay, leave the guy the way it is. No one will understand. Let's build
she
a
quit
language.
on his
Let's
accent.
start doing
So wait a
something.
second.
No, she bailed on him.
Literally, the first
Oh my
season,
God.
she walked away and
But
went,
the first season had
Hopeless.
been done. There was nothing else to do. But let me say one more thing. Like, I mean, he got away with his accent. But the thing is, on the first season, we were about to go on shooting, and then COVID hit, and we had to wait. One thing was we couldn't hire people from that had to travel. And this second season, we were begging, not just to bring people from other places, but to travel to locations and start doing what we were supposed and really were dreaming about doing on the first season, and we couldn't do it then. So this time we went to Spain, we traveled, we brought actors from other countries. Directors, like there's a Mexican director on the episode you just saw.
Danish.
That's yeah. Directors don't live in the UK of the second season,
Of all the locations that you shot, I know some of them must be real locations in the world. What's the most unbelievably real location that you didn't have to build and just shot in? Like the thing that fit so beautifully in what we would consider an otherworldly locale or otherworldly architecture that actually existed. That's
in
not
Valencia,
digital.
Spain, the Calatrava Art Center there thing is just.
What is the location in the series?
It's the Senate, it's Coruscant, it's that whole thing.
That
yeah, this
pool
crazy architect Robert Calatrava, and he built these extravaganzas around the world.
It's got like this harp.
Yeah,
sort of
and
figure at one end.
that served as a whole bunch of different things for us. I will say the Cruachan Dam in Scotland, which is Aldani, was just a really that's pretty much what it is. Where they go to the garrison and the Aldani Club, the heist, the big heist in episode 4, 5, and 6 and in season 1, and that. It's weird. It's a battery. It's a dam that's way up in the mountains, and they pump the water up into this thing when they have energy. And when the grid is low, they use the water from the dam for energy. So they use the dam as a battery, literally. And it's this ungodly, weird place, and it's pretty much like water. It is. And it's pretty much like it is in the show. And you're like, this is really this place. That's a stumper, isn't it?
No. Is there a location left on the globe you're like, I wish I had done something there, but couldn't make it happen?
We didn't really get to travel as much as we wanted to, ever. No, I mean, no.
I think you should tell, the story of the flashback of Cassian's backstory.
Yes.
Oh, his childhood, yeah. We like, in the beginning, we were like, we're going to go to New Guinea or Thailand or like the jungle. We'll take a bunch of kids in a plane and we'll go back and do Canary. And that's pre-COVID. And then we ended up shooting in Black Park, which is like, there's a gate that goes from Pinewood to Black. There's literally people walking dogs off the frame. Like, it's a park. It's a shitty park.
It's not just the park. It's the park we all,
seriously,
like the
man.
park you see from everyone's office. You know?
Wow.
It's
Seriously,
like,
man.
Like, where should we do it? There.
Really glamorous.
Now, that is a penny pincher. But I'll tell you what, you said Gorman, like, the French actors, they're not that expensive. But
No, oh my God.
am I misquoting him?
No, he's right. We didn't have to bring them from, no.
I
It wasn't
understand.
as
I'm not.
expensive as
Yes, but I'll tell you what looked
Mexico.
expensive. I'll tell you what looked expensive was that riot scene on Gorman.
Right.
Like, first of all, it's beautifully executed. It's complete chaos, but as a viewer, which is I'm sure is very hard to achieve, I knew where everyone was. I didn't lose track of where the individuals were within that. But it looked incredibly complex to have executed, and it looked really expensive. Was it?
Yeah.
Thousands of people in a riot.
Well, just a couple of things. One, for amusement's sake, when we started season 1, again pre-COVID, I had an office in Pinewood, and my window looked out. We were trying to build Ferrex, and like Ferrex is this huge thing, and we're going to stake all this money on it. It's going to take like 6 acres to build it. And out my window is the back lot, and who has the back lot? Little fucking Mermaid, and. Little Mermaid is there like the whole time to haunt me.
That's a Disney movie.
Why is that not my?
Ixnay on the Mermaid.
Yeah, no.
They're watching
I really
right now,
hated
Tony.
Little Mermaid because they had, and we're gonna go to Marlow, like 18 more miles away from the hotel in the middle of nowhere by a refuse site and build it. It's like, wow, we could build it. So season 2, Gorman went where the Little Mermaid had been. That mattered to me. What was
I love this. This is like a mix between
Therapy.
a Q&A and a stand-up comedy
No.
session.
No, but Luke
This
and
is lovely.
no.
Like, I love
How
promoting
often
the
was
show.
How often was he on set?
Never.
Oh, no, never.
Never.
No, but
Never.
but
You
it
just didn't
wasn't
wanna get in
because
the
he had
way?
anything else to do. It's like that was the process. When I tell you like the page was already bounced back and forth. Everyone made the questions. There's one other thing that is really cool about this show and that made us work in blocks from season 1 is that a director takes a block of 3 episodes, and they come and they prepare. They prep for 3 months before they
4
go
months,
on shooting.
yeah.
So it's a long process for directors, for the DOPs, and once they get ready, they go and execute a little film. And once they are ready, they work with this man and with Sana and everyone enough to get given the opportunity to actually bring what they have, their perspective. There's a director on set, which is a thing on TV, that there's the writer on set, and sometimes that can work
Executive
great
producer.
or not.
creepy.
But here it was like there's a director, and the director, has the answers, and the actors also, because we've been carrying these characters for so long, and we know where we're coming from. So it becomes quite interesting, the feeling of freedom on set, And then obviously he's watching there every morning, and he's telling you what he's feeling about what you're doing. But there's a beautiful thing of having a perspective, just one perspective that you're always reacting to, one point of view. For the whole time is Tony, but on set is the director.
Directors in
That's cool.
TV are so emasculated by the process, It's so hard to get them. It's really, probably people in this room, it's a sweepstakes. That's a whole separate sidebar conversation, how difficult it is to get directors, because there's so much competition for them and who's available when. But when they get there, they don't get enough prep. They don't get scripts that are completed. They don't really know what the hell is happening with the cast. Everything is an IOU or a question mark or A, B, C, and D, and they go to set, and then they shoot, and they're, oh my God, the safest thing to do is to shoot coverage, because coverage is safe, and they don't get to really do final cut, and they don't do the color, and they don't do the music, and by the end, they leave, and they're unhappy. And everybody's unhappy. And so because of COVID, weirdly, we designed the way to make the show a different way, where it's going to be like absolutely scientifically insane until the moment where we give it to you and the actors to go. And then they would go and don't shoot coverage, intentionally direct, swing away. You're here for a reason because you're really good. I don't know what it's like. When I would show up on set, maybe it's different because I had been a director and a director of some small note. So when you show up on the set, everybody starts looking at me, and it's really warpy and weird, and it's not comfy for anybody. It just was uncomfortable. So I would ceremonially visit from time to time, but it was so much better to have, super deep communication before. I talked to every director on Sunday night.
How many directors over the course of the 12?
Three in each season. A director can do 2 blocks for us. So one director did 6 episodes, because you can do the first block and the last block physically. You can shoot it, prep it, and have enough time to rest, and then do another one.
And you leapfrog.
Yeah, that's the only way. And sometimes we have 2 and 3 tandem units shooting simultaneously. They're swapping lenses and doing different things. But what was I going to say? To let them swing away and let the actors be deputized to take care of their performances in some way, because the actors know where they are, the directors are shooting out of sequence, so there's 15 or 20 actors that are responsible for where are you now, and sometimes the directors won't always remember what's really important. And we had a kind of show where a lot of people were deputized to raise your hand. Raise your hand. If you see something, say something. It was a very communicative, open show. Everybody's a filmmaker. And and I mostly stayed home and ran the show like Kim Jong-un from my little booth,
Wow.
He would appear like a hologram sometimes. The dance I have with Bix, there was someone holding a laptop, following us here, and there's like him, or the speech he gave in the first season.
Yes.
He was so cool. I mean, his voice was like, on the stage, but he was in New York.
I spent a lot of time in London, but I didn't go to set a lot. It was uncomfortable.
Well, we got a couple minutes here. We've got a couple of questions from the audience. So I already have them right here.
Oh, my God.
Okay, someone named Ronald Hood. You around?
Yes.
Ronald, you say, and I'm going to say it, you say, you've redefined what a Star Wars story can be. Do you have hope that future creators can build upon this and produce more Star Wars tales with a greater depth and intricate themes? I guess that's for you, Tony.
I mean, the mandate was to open a new lane and a new grammar, and the buy-in was a lack of cynicism. We had to take it really seriously. That was our credo. We're going to take it really, really seriously, and we're never going to wink or goof around. And so that's the buy-in. I just hope people do freaky stuff. I hope they take it out, and you wouldn't want someone to try to slavishly try to reproduce the tone or temperature of Andor, but people should, push it, try. I hope that people put their freak flag on and do something really interesting, always.
Yes, you can go for it while I think of something to say. No, I think it a lot has to do with you. I think there is Andor because you showed up for Rogue One. I think this at least I can talk about these people, this community. They do react to what people seem to like, or they also react to what people seem to ignore. And you don't see more of that. Yeah. So there is, I think I always like bouncing it back to you because it's the responsibility of audiences. We should be asking for what we like,
Well, we like. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy.